Hey everyone, welcome back to Cosmic Alignment Yoga and blessed summertime. Summer, we just passed the summer solstice a little while ago, and Cancer initiates the summer season. So, Cancer season starts on the summer solstice, June 21st, and now we are in Cancer season. Cancer is a water sign. So, with Cancer, we are dealing with the water element a lot, which is also Cancer is ruled by the moon. And we know that the moon rules the tides of the ocean. So we have like the highest and lowest tides during the full moon and new moons. And so that's just a reflection of how Cancer rules the water in the macrocosm, and Cancer rules the water in the microcosm of our bodies. And the places of the body that Cancer rules is the breasts, the mucous membranes, so anything that is like connected to the outside world, like in our nose, like in our reproductive system, in our digestive system, our respiratory system. So anything that interfaces with the outer world. One of my teachers like makes this really amazing visual, like we see Earth out in space, and then the moon is rotating around the Earth, and it's kind of like the moon's kind of like this protective moat. It's like the watery element that like goes around the Earth. So it's like a moat, and that's how like the mucous membranes are for our body. So they're like a protective mechanism for interfacing with the outer world. So that's a really fun vision to keep in our mind's eye. And let's see, also Cancer rules the stomach. It's like a receptacle, and it also rules the lower lungs, and it has some correlations with the womb as well. And mostly though, what we're going to be working with during Cancer season in yoga practice with me is the Svadhisthana chakra, which is our second chakra, which is here in our body. It's like our womb center, our reproductive systems, our hip area. And this is like highly where we store our emotions in our bodies, is in our hips, in the Svadhisthana chakra. The Svadhisthana chakra is developed at from age of 6 months to 2 years. So this is a feeling age for us. This is before most of us are able to even use our words. And so we process things through feeling before we process things lingually. So as we're in practice today, just be really gentle with yourself as we're opening our hips, allowing like what's coming up, or just like, observing the feelings and allowing the feeling sense to exist in our bodies. And so that's how I feel like we're going to be in alignment with the cosmos during our practice this month, is by really tuning into our feeling and allowing ourselves to feel, and also allowing ourselves to open. Cancer's the crab. So Cancer has like this protective shell around it, and that's totally okay. It's great to have boundaries. Boundaries are very useful in a lot of situations, because then we can like allow the juicy meat of the crab and like the juiciness of our emotions to like be fully expressed within the shell of our boundary. But we want to have balance with our boundaries. So just like allowing ourselves to maybe soften a little bit during practice and tune into our feeling sense. So during practice today, I recommend having a strap. I'm using my boyfriend's ratchet strap. You can use a sock, you can use a scarf, you can, whatever strap works for you. It's fun to be inventive and use what we have around. And then also, I always recommend having a blanket or a pillow, something to elevate the hips for when we're sitting. And then also, sometimes we use our blanket like under our bellies when we do back bends. We won't need that today, but when we elevate our hips, we allow our hip flexors to be able to relax. When, like if you're sitting like this and your knees are up, your hip flexors are flexed. So that's why we elevate the hips, even if you want to sit in a low chair on a stool or something. I think that's a great idea. And then also, if you want to have a stack of books or blocks around, we might use that in practice today if you feel like you need it. It's always a good thing to just keep around. So, and whenever you're ready, we will start. I'm sorry, I got something in my eye. We will start closing our eyes and coming to a comfortable seat. Begin to tune in with the breath. And begin to tune in with the feeling sense of the body. So the spine is straight. Lift the shoulders up to the ears and roll them back. Envisioning that the spine is descending down through the hip girdle and into the earth. Setting our roots into the earth. And then imagine that the spine is growing like a very tall, straight tree out of those roots, reaching up towards the sky. Continuing the breath. And then just bringing the awareness to the area of the hips, of the reproductive system, of the low back. And here we tune into our feeling sense even more, imagining that someone was coming up to your sacrum, which is that downward facing triangle bone at the bottom of your spine, and just pressing very gently on your sacrum. And maybe that causes your hips to tilt forward ever so slightly. And then you feel what's happening with your leg bones as your hips are tilting forward ever so slightly. Breathing. And now moving the opposite way. So if somebody was, or if yourself had your two little fingers and you're pressing just a couple inches below your belly button, your hips tilt backwards, and observing what's happening with your leg bones. So just doing this a couple more times. Inhaling, hip tilt forward. And exhaling, hips tilting backwards. And when you're ready, you can inhale, arms up, eyes begin to open very gently. On your exhale, hands come to heart center and Om if you'd like. Om. So we'll begin laying on our backs. You can move your blanket out of the way. Feet come flat on the earth. Shoulder blades and hands come to your sides. Actually, I'm sorry. Hands start on your knees, fingers facing toes, and your knees come into chest. Let's start with Apanasana. So Apanasana is working with like breathe at the top. And on your exhale, coming down. Inhale, lift hips. exhale, coming down. At the same time, coming all the back of the hands, coming all the way to the earth above your head. A little more. Exhale, coming down, trying to take the whole exhale to get the hands and hips back to the earth. And we'll feeling free to grab your blanket or just stay sitting on the earth and bringing the soles of the feet together for Baddha Konasana. So just opening the hips, extending the spine. Breathing. And we'll make our way to hands and knees. Hands are beneath shoulders, knees are beneath hips. Let's bring our elbows, bending the elbows to the outside, and then make little half circles with our elbow so that the crease of our elbow is facing forward. The hands are wide and stable on the earth. So dynamic movement here, very fluid, watery movement. Let's take our inhale breath. And as we exhale, push through the hands, begin to send the hips back to the heels, slowly rounding one vertebrae of the spine at a time. Hips come all the way to heels. Inhale, pulling through the hands, bending the elbows, unfurling the spine, coming back to neutral. Again, exhaling back. Really being mindful and tapping into our feeling sense of every little motion that we're doing with our body. Let's do 3 more. And we're going to move to downward facing dog. So flip the toes, lift the hips, downward facing dog, open the upper back. Oh yeah, the rib cage is also ruled by Cancer. So this is a really wide rib cage. The rib cage is kind of like our shell, our vital organs of our body, our heart, our lungs, our kidneys. So that's our protection there. So really just widening the upper back, the upper rib cage. Feeling safe to open the heart. When you inhale, lift right leg back. And exhale, bring right foot to the outside of right hand. So your foot is flat on the earth, just to the outside of your right hand. This is lizard pose. So you can stay here, or this is a good time to bring your hand up on a block if you want, or a stack of books. Or you can bring the knee down to the earth, breathing in to where you're feeling the stretch. Being mindful to not be shrugging the shoulders. Maybe playing with how it feels different if you have your knee on the earth or if you have your knee lifting up. And when you're ready, lift your knee up if it isn't, and then lift right leg back and up, shake it out a little, and bring it down, downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg up. And exhale, left foot to the outside of right hand. Scooching left foot to the outside of left hand, and then scooching right foot back a little bit. And coming into lizard, however you did on the opposite side. And when you're ready, lifting the back knee. And inhaling, left leg up and back. And downward facing dog. Just 2 more breaths here. Walking feet to meet hands. And inhale, half lift. And then inhale, coming up all the way. Hands at heart center. So let's start with creating a really stable base with our left foot, feeling all 4 corners of the foot on the earth. And then inhale, right foot up, 90-degree angle. And then we'll inhale, step back with right foot, coming to a high lunge. So we're lifting up the back knee. Inhale, arms come up. And then you can come into Anjaneyasana, bringing knee down, top of the foot on the earth, being really careful not to crunch in the low back. Rather, we're lifting up, but feeling the stretch in the front hip area, the psoas muscle. Hands come down to frame the front foot. Lifting up, standing splits, bringing head towards knee. On your exhale, bringing top foot down, forward fold. Breathing here. Inhale, half lift. I love this posture. If anybody ever is concerned about blood pressure, this is a beautiful posture to take. It's regulating to blood pressure. So, and sometimes even if you're in forward fold and you're like, oh, I don't feel so good, just coming up halfway. And then inhale, coming up all the way. Exhale, hands at heart center. I was talking to my friend the other day that has had to work with his blood pressure, and he was like, oh yeah, that's what athletes always do after they've exerted themselves so much there in this position. So they're like regulating, so it's like, oh, it's a really beautiful thing when we can see similar things happen across practices or cultures or anything. Then we know that that's something that maybe we could pay attention to. Okay, so opposite side, grounding through the right foot, lifting left knee, 90-degree angle. Inhale, stepping back, high lunge, lifting the knee up. And when I say that, I mean just like lifting from the back of the knee. So you get a larger stretch in your psoas muscle. Lowering knee down, Anjaneyasana. And exhale, hand, foot, stepping up, standing splits. Exhale, top foot comes down, forward fold again. Feeling free to place your palms underneath your feet. So the back of your hands on the earth, your palms are connected to your feet. Or you can grab opposite elbows. And inhale, coming up, half lift. Inhale, coming up to standing. Hands at heart center. And coming to feet beneath hips. Inhale, arms come up. Actually, you can bring your hands to heart center. You might want to have your block next to you. This is Garudasana, so this is eagle pose. It's a little bit of a balancing pose, or helpful to go up next to a tree or against a wall or something that can brace your balance if you need that. Inhaling, arms up. Exhale, sit back for chair pose. So making sure that your knees are not coming over your toes. You put your hips out so that your knees can come back. Finding that neutral tilt in your hips, how we did at the beginning of class, we tilted our hips forward and tilted them back. So finding that neutral space. Arms come to cactus arms. And lifting left leg, bringing knee over and then hooking your foot if possible. This is a good place where if you can like set your foot on block or you can wrap it. Exhale, elbows together, right elbow on top of left. Inhale, arms come up. Exhale, elbows down. If you want, you can come into a little ball. You can do any stage of Garudasana that you're at. Feeling compassion and acceptance with your body and where you're at. Inhale, coming out of eagle, unwinding. Exhale, coming down. Opposite side when you're ready. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, chair. Cactus arms. Opposite side, grounding through left foot, lifting right leg over. Trying to mirror what you did on the other side. And then bringing elbows together, left elbow on top of right. Inhale, hands come up. Exhale, elbows down. Curling in if you would like. And when you're ready, inhaling, unwinding, coming to flight like an eagle. Exhale, hands come down. If you ever feel lightheaded when you're like coming out of a pose or standing up, you can just bend your knees a little bit. Take a moment in our feeling sense. And when you're ready, we're moving down to Malasana, yogi squat. So bringing the feet a little bit wider than the hips. Knees are going to be facing in the same direction as the toes. People do this both ways. You can have your toes facing forward, or you can have your toes facing out a little bit. I prefer to have mine facing out. And then we're coming into a deep squat. So listening to your body here. Also, you can bring your blanket underneath your heels if that's helpful. Bring your blocks to sit on, or just regular. Or if you want to skip it, you can just come to seated. Hands at heart center. Triceps are on the insides of the thigh, calf, not pressing on the knees. Take a drink of water. Breathing into the hips. Maybe take a minute to roll your shoulders back. mindfulness, tapping into our feeling sense. What are you feeling here in this posture? Personally, I really feel this, like, I feel the downward moving energy, like going kind of down my spine, like extending through my spine, like down into the earth behind me. So maybe you feel that too. Maybe you feel something else. And when you're ready, we will come to seated on the blanket. And we'll come to Paschimottanasana. So feet out in front of us. Moving the flesh out of the way. Hands are framing the extended legs. Spine grows tall. Exhale, straight spine at first. On your next exhale, feeling free to round the spine, bringing the hands towards the calves, ankles, toes, feet. When you're ready, inhale coming up. And depending on what you have, a pillow or a blanket, when I fold my blanket, I like to fold it into a square because we're moving into Gomukhasana. And then I like to put the triangle, the corner of the square facing forward, kind of like a triangle. It's more like a diamond. And then, and if you have like a square pillow or something, it doesn't matter that much, but it's just nice to elevate the hips in this way. You're feeling welcome to try taking Gomukhasana on the earth, but I find with the tightness in my hips that it the more space helps a lot. So we'll start with right leg. So bringing your right leg just along the shape of the diamond, the knees facing in front of you. Your right foot is on the mat. And then bringing left leg over, stacking knees on top of one another. Both sits bones are on your blanket. Breathing into the hip area. Allowing, feeling, accepting. If you'd like to bring the arms in, you can either grab your strap or you can just grab both of your hands together, but we'll inhale, right arm up, bend the elbow, and then left arm comes behind, elbows bent, and then we'll clasp both hands. This is where you would just clasp the strap with both hands if you're using a strap or even your shirt. Inhaling to unwind the arms. And then we will either unwind the legs and then come into it on the other side, or if you want to try something super fun, so you go to the right side where like you're turning to the side where your foot that's on top is, and then you're going to bring your feet to the earth and do a little spinaroo, and then it brings you right back to Gomukhasana on the other side. So this time we have our left leg on bottom, right knee stacked on top of left, and sits bones are both on the blanket or the pillow. And bringing the arms in, left arm on top this time, and right arm on bottom. Continue your breath. And inhale to unwind arms. And whenever you're ready, unwinding legs. Shaking the legs out. And then I'm going to unfold my blanket. And let's bring right foot in. The foot goes to the inner thigh of the left leg, extending left leg out. And then left arm is palm face up along left leg. Inhale, right arm up. And then as we exhale, we're going to reach out through the right rib cage and then up and over. Top shoulder stays open, so we kind of like, are in one plane. And reaching over with right arm, out with right rib cage. Inhale, coming up, and exhale, arm comes down. Switching legs. And right arm comes palm face up on the right leg. Inhale, left arm up. And as you exhale, left rib cage comes out, reaching over with the left hand and opening towards, just opening with the left shoulder. Inhale, coming up, and exhale, lower arm. And we're moving down to the earth, so you can move your blanket out of the way. Make sure your strap is in reaching distance because we'll use it in the next couple poses, or in a couple poses from now. So coming onto your back, shoulder blades are flat. We're coming into shoulder stand, but if you've never done shoulder stand before, hips into hands, feet in alignment with the chin. Chin is tucked. To plow. If you're in Viparita Karini and you have your legs extended above you, just stay there. In plow, you can hold on to your ankles or your calves, or you can have hands on the earth. And slowly coming out of plow, if you want to come through tranquility pose, you can, grabbing the ankles and slowly bringing the hips down. Tranquility poses, balancing on the upper back. And when the hips settle down on the earth, hands come out to, or your arms come out to a T. This side, gaze towards the right. Right shoulder stays on the earth. When you're ready, knees coming back to center on the inhale. Feet are flat on the earth, knees are bent. And let's bring the strap around the left foot first. So the strap comes around the ball of the foot. Hip on right hip. And when you're ready, inhaling, foot comes towards the outside of the body. Over. If your right hip is staying down, which you want it to stay connected to the earth, then you can extend right hand above your head. When you're ready, inhaling, left leg back to center. And then, so keeping the left leg flexed, and it's like notice how you feel. The earth. The same posture on the opposite side. Inhale. Take any other postures that you might like or that your body's feeling like it needs. So another opportunity to tap into your feeling sense. Feet are a little bit wider than your hips, and hands are a little bit wider than your shoulder. Hands are palms face up. Um, Muscles relaxed, fingers are curling in. In corpse pose, Shavasana, we are like water. We are relaxed. We let flow. We are releasing. We are fluid. So bringing that water element quality of relaxation to every single muscle in the body and to the mind. And resting here. When you're ready, take a deep breath, wiggling fingers and toes, maybe stretching arms above your head. And slowly turning to one side in the fetal position. Making your way up to seated. We'll do a short breathing exercise today. Ujjayi breath. So Ujjayi breath is if you're imagining yourself fogging up a mirror, you would constrict this area in the back of your throat, and the Ujjayi breath is breathing in through your nose and in through that area in the back of your throat. It acts as a valve to like disperse the breath throughout the body or be able to send the breath where you want it. And then we exhale through that valve and through the mouth. So join me in just 6 short Ujjayi breaths today, just a little bit longer of tapping into our body, being mindful, being in our feeling sense. And whenever you're ready, begin. Going to just below your threshold of your inhale and exhale, of the length that you can make your inhale and exhale. So going just below the threshold. So finishing the breath you're on and then taking one more. Bringing your hands to heart center. Thank you so much for sharing your practice with me today. And the light in me bows and honors the light in you. Namaste. And may you have a blessed Cancer season. I encourage you to tap into your feeling sense even more this season than maybe you already do. And also, if you want a really beautiful practice to be even more in tune with the cosmos, just taking a short moment to like acknowledge how you're feeling each day through the moon cycle. So the moon takes like a couple of days to move through each sign of the zodiac. And it can be really revealing to see how we're feeling and what our patterns are like in relation to the moon. So if you do that, or if you have any questions, please contact me, comment, email me, and I would love to chat with you about that.